I decided to make a little video and not make it live, so that I could get my thoughts in order and say the things that I want to say. Although I enjoy the chat and live conversations, which, Monday through Friday, twice a day, I do through Transition Radio. But this is more of like Ritzy's innermost thoughts and innermost understanding. And I want to be able, as I record, as I journal, as I set a path to my detransition, I want to be able to be a beacon for other detransitioners that may come after me. I have a feeling there's going to be lots and lots of detransitioners. But just as that wave came so fiercely, the pendulum was going to roll itself back. And we're going to see this time of this gender confusion as a travesty. Now, I don't want to be disrespectful to anyone who feel that this is the best thing that's ever happened to them. I thought that too in the beginning. But as one ages and as the years go by, and as we see the wrinkles and the sagging skin, and, life just doesn't become about status, looks, and selfies, then the brain and the heart and the essence of one starts to change. And it's important for one to listen to these changes for your own good, for your own heart, for your own well-being. I look in the mirror now and I see a run-down woman, a woman that has been through so much in the past 16 years, a woman that has suppressed her well-being, her inner core, to bring forth this persona, which I named Mark Angel back in 2003, a persona that I created as I soul search for the answer, as a protection, as an armor for all of the things that I went through. Excuse me. Mark served his purpose well. I played it off real nicely. Probably take the Academy Award. I've loved many. I had great encounters, and I don't want to make the people feel that were in my life that they were just, a part of the role. I did love them, and they all meant something to me, some way or another. My heart changed dramatically in my last relationship. It opened up to a point where it became a sense of a healing for me that allowed me then to step back and look within and reassess the situation, which that assessment led to this final and last detransition. I am putting up Mark in a shelf, never to be seen again. It's a decision and a conclusion that has taken years and a lot of thought process and awakening, a divine intervention, if you will, that has allowed me to understand who I am and has allowed me to feel free and not afraid to be who I was born to be. I can tell you now that there's a lot of young women out there that think that if they change their gender, their life is going to just become so much better. As if an M or an F on a documentation is going to make anything different. Yes, we know that there's a lot of male privilege, but unfortunately, when you have been socialized as a female, and I was socialized as a female for 38 years, those privileges aren't really there because you don't know how to take advantage of them, because you still think like a female. And I don't want to get into the disagreement of female brain versus male brain. That's all bogus. But socialization, environmental Interaction makes a massive difference how we behave. The brain is plastic, and it shapes to your environment, if you will. I want these young women out there that are thinking about transitioning, that are thinking about taking testosterone, to think twice and think really hard. Because your life will change. It's going to change, trust me. And you might think that you're on top of that mountain. You'll feel like king of the jungle for a little bit. Till that inner voice, that sweet inner voice, starts talking to you. When you start interacting with other men and start to realize that you're nothing like them. Not the way they talk, not the way they look at female, not the way they act. You are absolutely nothing like them. So then you feel really lost because you can't feel that connection you have with women anymore because you will be looked differently. As an occupational therapist, when I worked as a female, I was looked totally different as an occupational therapist in the role of a male. And sometimes I would forget. And it's like, oh no, whoa, I'm now the enemy in the eyes of a lot of women. I miss the interaction that I had with females. I miss that. No, there's no replacement for that. Not in friendship with men. It's just, and nothing against you guys. We're just made differently, and there's just different feelings and different upbringings, and these are facts. Not only is it a biological fact, but it's also how our brains developed from the way we are treated. So, needless to say, for the past 4 years, I've been advocating against this whole travesty. And nothing against anyone in particular. I know all of you out there, or not all of you, but a lot of you in the trans community look at me as public enemy number one. I'm not your enemy. I'm just the truth teller. And I understand that this may be my truth and may not be your truth. But like me, many feel the same way. Are just too afraid to come out, or too afraid to face it, or too stubborn to admit after they've made the plunge. It's hard. It's hard after you take that dive to admit that you've made a mistake. It's hard to take that plunge when you've done everything to alter your entire life. There's a trail of documentation, which now I have to go back and try to alter. And it's not easy. And then we're looked at as crazy because, well, you should go back and forth, back and forth. Well, people are entitled to change their mind. People are entitled sometimes to make mistakes based on situations. That's how it goes. Nothing is written in stone. We don't come with a manual. We learn as we go along. So as I embark on this journey, I don't know what the future holds. Right now, I've been off of work since September when I got hurt in Walmart, and still in the process of litigation with workers' comp and, my shoulder and everything. And, to tell you the truth, I'm not the same. My back's messed up, my shoulder. I had one rotator cuff long ago on this one and one on this one. So now both my shoulders are pretty much shot. I don't know what the future holds. I know that I want to do what I have the passion to do, which is what I do daily on Transition Radio. Educate people, bring people together, let people speak up about their pain, let people understand their belief system. I want to also be a liaison between the church and people, because the church needs a makeover, a massive makeover. And it needs to try to understand things in a different perspective. The church needs to understand that this trans agenda could have possibly been created by the way you treat individuals. Like women are supposed to dress a certain way, guys are supposed to do this. And all these supposed to and all these stereotypes, in my opinion, created this tsunami that we call transgenderism. I don't take to this term too kindly, or the term of gender dysphoria too kindly. The reason being because this is relatively new. Yes, there have been people throughout history that have expressed differently, but expression and personality is not a medical condition. And out of the blue, out of nowhere, like a thief in the night, this thing came and has stripped the life of many. Let's not just say the individual who transitioned, but those in the life of these individuals. A tornadic event just took over. The change of thinking, the development of a character. Because with all due respect, as much as everybody says, I've always been this way. Talk to families of individuals, especially late transitioners, and they'll tell you different, or they'll tell you differently. It's a travesty. It really is. You know, I feel for those of you who struggle. I do, because I've been there. You know, again, I'm going to hear you were never trans. Okay, that's cool. You could think that, but who in their right mind will go under the knife for 7 hours to have top surgery and a hysterectomy at the same time? I must be crazy, I guess, you know, because I wanted it all done. Now, boom, I've suffered too long, my entire life, you know, having not been accepted for the person that I am, my personality, the way that I am. I mean, sometimes I feel, you know, totally more in touch with my female side, although I'm not your girly girl. And sometimes I feel more in touch with my masculine side, but I'm not also some, you know, even though Mark played a good game. I mean, Mark is a man's man, you know, but I've never really identified with the trans community. You know, I never felt that like super duper dysphoria, and I can't even understand what the dysphoria thing is as I've studied it, as I've seen people react. In my opinion, dysphoria is just the inability to want to accept your birth sex, and you want so badly to change it that you become distressed about it. But there is no objective finding to clearly point out anything in your body in particular, or in your brain, that tells you you are suffering. I mean, I've known people that suffer for anything that they can't have. You see children suffer when they can't have a toy. So we have to really dig deep and understand this so-called gender dysphoria. And understand that transitioning does not help it, because I've seen thousands of people who transition, who have gotten surgery, who have done everything, and they still suffer from this so-called dysphoria. What I call dysphoria is a neurological impairment, trauma-based outcomes that need to be worked through. And that would be the brave thing to do, to work through your issues. So I say shame on all you gender specialists, shame on all you doctors who are just prescribing drugs, hormones, not approved by the FDA, by the way, for the purpose that you're prescribing it, and you surgeons that are treating people like guinea pigs, knowing that full well these individuals are not right. Because who in their right mind would want to put themselves in harm's way just to cosmetically get something done that doesn't change your chromosome, doesn't change your persona? People are not happy after the outcome. In fact, there are more suicides after transition. People are more unhappy because now they have nothing else to do. They've done it all, but they're still not there. You will never get there. And I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but that's the truth. That's God's truth. People need to talk about this. Do you know how many emails I get from trans guys and trans women? I appreciate what you're doing. You're speaking truth, but they're too afraid to speak. I'm not afraid, and I won't ever be afraid, because truth needs to be spoken. Because I have spent the last 16 years of my life pretending to be something I am not. I feel like I've just woken up from a coma, a massive coma. And now I'm like, life, it's like getting in time travel machine and stepping out in another time period and kind of wondering, where did I leave off? I was 38 years old when I transitioned, still in the hype of my life. I was, you know, and I can't bring those years back. I don't know what kind of harm I've done to myself. Hysterectomy at 38, taking testosterone since. And even prior to that, I was on some steroids because I wanted to change my body because I didn't like the fact that I was fat. So it's all about body dysmorphia. It's all about shame. I was shamed because I was a lesbian. So I thought I'm bisexual. Through the years, I found that out. There are things that we need to work through and work on. And this quick one-size-fits-all approach is not helping anyone. We're going to see more and more people detransitioning and hurting themselves if we don't change this. this paradigm that we have created. I love you guys with all my heart, even all of you who don't agree with me. I wouldn't be saying these things unless I came a person to go through what I went through and what I've seen other people go through, just because they could not resolve unresolved issues from childhood, sexual molestation, parental abuse, just the fact of not even liking yourself, that in itself. So this agenda has given people a free pass to step into a machine that allows you to come out on the other side as someone different, an adventure, a new journey. Half these trans guys that I see trying to be men aren't doing a very good job. And those that feel that they are really have to assess the situation and find out what makes you think that you are. What were you running away from? And I don't want to say that every single person that does this will end up believing they made a mistake. There might be a few. A few. But as I see it and where I stand here standing, how I look at it and what I've seen throughout the years, it doesn't look pretty. There are very few, very happy trans people. I'm not saying there's none, but there's not that many. And we will see. Because time will tell. Time will definitely tell. So anyway, I am, I'm looking at probably trying to get out from here, because I don't want to continue to be a burden, and living out of my car, traveling, meeting up with people, continuing the mission that I started here, and taking it out there. And as well as not only working on the spiritual essence, the uniting the community, but also helping people figure out who they are inside. Really tackling what this gender confusion is all about. And in my opinion, it's all about the two becoming one, the male and the female energies combining together and making peace with one another. And that's what I'm in the process of doing. But for the first time in my life, I feel at ease. I've detransitioned a couple of times. Didn't want to transition back, but I felt I had to. And I don't want to, I want to be able to talk about me without bringing in my past. And last time we had a separation, it wasn't pretty. So I don't want to go there. I want to keep it civil and loving. So I would have kept detransition. Let me see, sometimes my English is, I would have continued to be a detransitioner at the time, but I couldn't. And now I can. Now I can, because now I'm single. Now I have nobody but myself to look after. And I am following the guide and the lead of the absolute mother, father, who I know has a lot of things planned for me and for my future. So I'm excited for the unknown. I'm totally excited to see where life is going to take me. I can only take it one day at a time, though. I don't want to get overwhelmed. I don't want to think of the past, and I don't want to project into the future. So in that said, thank you guys for your support, for your lovely comments on the videos that I've been putting up, for taking the time away from your schedule and spending time with me on Transition Radio Show, the chats. I look forward to that so much. But I just wanted to make this little video kind of like to speak out of my heart and hope that I could touch and reach someone. So if you are a teenage girl, almost woman, and you're thinking about doing this because you feel awkward, you don't feel feminine enough, you feel ugly, you feel fat, you feel abused, and you want to get strong and powerful because you feel that's how you're going to hold your power. Your power lies within you, the woman in you. Women are strong. In my opinion, women are stronger than men. Who has the babies? Women rock. And don't you ever forget that. Please don't sell out. If you are a butchy woman and you enjoy more masculine things, then more power to you. There's nothing wrong with you. Wear that proudly. If you're a feminine guy and you prefer feminine things, wear that proudly too. Don't feel like you have to sell out, transform your body, hurt your health in your future by trying to fulfill something that is impossible. In that note, I'm going to go ahead and end this, and I'm sending you all my love. I'm sending you all. I manifest and pray that source, whoever it is that you believe in, whoever you pray to, let them guide you. Ask for their forgiveness for ever thinking badly of yourself, because we destroy ourselves by constantly thinking that we're born wrong, that we want to be another way. Do you know how many sick people there are in this world that all they ever want was health? Yet here we have these healthy bodies that are destroying themselves based on some notion. So I pray, I manifest, I favor whatever it is that you believe in, that you will make peace with who you are and live a healthy, productive, and peaceful life. Because if you get on that train, I guarantee you that the outcomes are not going to be at all as you feel or think. I love you guys, but remember to always love yourselves too. See you tomorrow at 9:30 for Transition Radio with Maritza. Have a good one. Bye-bye.